towards sports, because last week I also mentioned this. Last week, Naomi Osaka came out and said she doesn't want to do interviews anymore between or during tournaments. And I said I sympathize, because I always wondered, like, how can you have those interviews right after games? Like just last night, NBA playoffs, and then the Lakers, for example, get eliminated from the playoffs, and then right after they ask LeBron James and they ask Frank Vogel, the trainer, like, "Hey, how do you feel? What's happening? What went wrong?" And like, well, we lost. So well, the others were better. So yeah, so it's super weird. And she said it's too much pressure on her, on her mental health and so on. So she doesn't want to do this anymore. And I feel sympathetic. On the other hand, there was a good point made on some podcast I listened to. I think it was on Flagrant 2, I believe, Andrew Schultz. He said, yeah, cool, I understand, but we're paying you the money. So I mean, that's part of your job. And every job has something that you don't like. Maybe it was the Michael Bisping podcast, BYM. I'm not sure. So every job has something that you don't like, right? So, and if that's the thing that you hate in your job, it's 10 minutes and then it's over. And then you go back, play tennis, chill, and get all the advertising money. And it's like, that's also a fair point. But then how do you balance it? Right. So if it really influences your mental health, then that's of course a big deal. But if it's just you don't like it, then get over it. Right. So it's difficult to see, like, now, where exactly Naomi Osaka, for example, stands there. Anyways, then the French Open said, well, if you don't do the interviews, we will fine you, back and forth. And Naomi Osaka said, well, I don't want the spotlight on me right now just because I don't want to do the press. I'm going to withdraw from the French Open. So Naomi Osaka officially withdrew from the French Open, not playing the French Open. And now everyone's wondering, like, what's happening next? Is she going to just stop playing tennis? Is she going to come back? So what would be ideally? I think ideal would be if Naomi Osaka, and she's very young, so I understand that maybe she's also a bit more emotional right now. I'm not downplaying the mental health aspect, by the way. I'm just saying ideally she would spend some time right now off, away from tennis, away from the media, from the press. So hey, media, just leave her alone right now for a while, so she can reassess everything. Then maybe she can say, okay, I struggle with this, but maybe I can find a way to work, I don't know, a way around it, figure out how to deal with it. Because if she can figure out a way to deal with it, then maybe she can be a voice for mental health, to raise more awareness for people that struggle as well, and that people that might not have the spotlight on them, so that they cannot raise awareness for themselves. So if Naomi Osaka finds a way to handle it, I don't say deal with it, I say handle it, live with it, and still maybe find a way to talk to the media, maybe once in a while, then maybe she could shine light on mental health issues. That would be great, I think. In regards to those press conferences between tournaments, I still think they are not necessary, and maybe you shouldn't be just forcing everybody to those interviews all the time. I'm sure professional athletes, they realize that they need the media to make more money, to get more advertising and so on. So then they will not say no all the time. I'm sure they would still say yes to interviews, to press conferences quite frequently, unless they really feel down or they really feel like they can't handle it right now, because eventually the more eyes on them, the better for them, the more money they make, right? So I think give them more freedom, and everything should like find its own groove there, I hope. And I hope Naomi Osaka will do well, because I really like her. I'm not a huge tennis fan, but when I watch those highlights of Naomi Osaka playing, she seems to be enjoying it on the court. She seems to be genuine in her emotions and so on. It's really cool to see someone enjoying what they do that much. So I hope she comes back with a vengeance, fury, motivation, and maybe finds a way to utilize those media obligations in a way that is beneficial to her and the cause of mental health.